I'm so glad you decided to tune in for our 6th video in the Fruits of the Spirit series today. Today we're going to be talking about goodness. Now, goodness is defined as being morally good or virtuous. In other words, it's talking about being morally good or having morals. In Galatians 5 verses 22 and 23, it says, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against these things there is no law." This verse is so important and powerful for us to think about, and it's been super fun learning about with each of you and learning what each one of these words mean. We have learned that God gives us an opportunity to be loving, joyful, peaceful, patient, and kind. And today's focus is goodness. Some good things in my life include my family, my friends, going for bike rides, eating chips and salsa, and having a scoop of ice cream. But I don't think this is the goodness that the Bible's talking about. What is the Bible talking about if the Bible is not talking about chips and salsa or my family and friends when it's talking about goodness? So if you're a kid, maybe your parents have told you, or if you're a parent, maybe you have said this, do the right thing or be good. Or maybe your teacher has told you, have a good attitude. But in the Bible, when we look in Mark 10, Jesus says, no one is good except God alone. So, wait, why is my parent telling me I should be good, but the Bible says no one is good? That makes an interesting point, doesn't it? Now, when Jesus says this, he's talking to a young leader. This young leader followed all of the rules. He was like, I got these 10 commandments down and I know how to do it right. He was following the rules, and so he was morally good by following the rules. He was trying to follow them so strictly that the behavior that he had was so good. But Jesus said that wasn't what he was talking about. He wasn't talking about following the rules. The goodness described in the fruit of the Spirit is not merely about our behavior, but our character. It combines our attempts to do good with God's character of being good. This goodness is only possible through God's work in our hearts. And it talks about that in 2 Peter 1, verse 3. This means that we're just not supposed to just be good because we have to be, or we're supposed to be good, or we're supposed to follow God's rules, but because we love God with our whole heart and that He's good for our life. Goodness begins by obeying the commandment that says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, your strength, and your mind. And as we love God, His character creates goodness in our hearts. To help us understand this a little bit better, I brought a little help with me. You might like these. So yesterday, I made 2 different batches of cookies. So I have one cookie here, and then I have another cookie here. They look pretty similar, right? Yeah, okay, so I'm going to taste them. This one tastes really good. This one, not so much. So, can you tell the difference in these cookies by the way that they look? No, you can't. But the one that did not taste very good was made with the wrong recipe. It had too much salt in it. And so when you bite into a cookie, you expect it to be sweet, right? Not salty. Exactly. Sometimes in the same way, when we're trying to do good or do all the right things, we may look good on the outside, but in our hearts, it's not good. It's like that cookie that has way too much salt, and we're not actually pleasing God. But since God is only truly good, He's the ingredient that creates goodness in our hearts, the true goodness that we need. And so as we eat these good cookies, there are many situations where the salty cookie may get in the way of what we're doing. Maybe it's people telling us that we should do something else and we're not supposed to. Or we make a bad choice to call someone a name. and we may be able to cover it up or hide it or make it look like we're still doing the right thing, but God is not pleased with that. And so to be good, we have to be good from our hearts. And we can't always tell what looks good from the outside. And so it's important to look inside, to ask God what is right and what's wrong, so that we know in our hearts we're doing what God has called us to do. We must love God with our whole heart before we can be good. And we always have to remember that we have to pray to God to ask for forgiveness. And that is the way that we can strive to be more like God and to seek His goodness. Thank you for joining us for our video this week. Before we go, let's review all the things that we've learned about so far. First video, God is love. We can show love to one another in many ways. When we're spreading love through our actions and our words, we are showing God's love to people. This also means we're being a good fruit. Number 2, we learned about joy. Joy is even greater than happiness. It's something that comes from God and helps us even through the hard times. Joy is peace in God and knowing there's something always to smile about and to be happy about each day. Number 3, we learned about peace. God's peace means that no matter what's going on, God is with us. He gives us what the world can't. Number 4, we learned about patience. Patience is something pretty difficult to have, but it's so important. The Bible teaches us that we need to learn patience. Many things in life take time, and the more patient that we are, the more that we're going to enjoy the gifts that God gives us at the right time. Because if we spend all of our time being impatient, we're going to be missing all the things that God has in store for us right now. Number 5, last week we talked about kindness. We learned the importance of showing kindness in our actions and in our words. And today, number 6, we learned about goodness. Goodness is not something that we can have on our own, and we must pray to God that we would love Him above everything else and that we would strive to do good in our lives. This week, as you go, consider how you can pray for goodness and ask God for goodness in your own life. Always remember, goodness comes from the heart, not the outward appearance.